Have you ever felt like the older you get, the more invisible you become? Maybe your phone rings less. Maybe people don't visit as often. Sometimes, even when you're in the same room with your family, it feels like you're not really there with them anymore. And that hurts, more than most people will ever understand. The truth is, aging brings wisdom, experience, and stories that younger people haven't even dreamed of yet. But it also brings something else, a quiet shift in how people treat you. And if you've been feeling a little more distant from your loved ones lately, you're not alone. Today, I want to talk to you honestly and gently about 6 common habits that, without even realizing it, can push people away as we grow older. This isn't about blame. It's about understanding. And if even one of these hits home, I hope you'll stick with me. Because these small shifts in awareness could bring your family, your friends, even your neighbors closer to you again. And before we start, I'd really love to know, have you ever felt like people started treating you differently after a certain age? If you're comfortable, share your experience in the comments. Someone out there might be feeling the same way, and your words could mean the world to them. Now let's get started. 1. Being too negative without realizing it. Now, I want you to think about this honestly. Have you ever caught yourself saying things like, "The world's going to hell," or "Back in my day, things were better," almost without thinking? It happens. Life isn't easy, especially as we get older. You've been through your share of hardships, health scares, financial pressures, losing friends, losing routines, and it's only natural that some of that pain shows up in the way you talk. But here's the hard truth. If every conversation turns into a list of complaints, people start pulling away. Not because they don't love you, not because they don't care, but because they leave the conversation feeling worse than when they walked in. Negativity is heavy, and whether you mean to or not, it can weigh people down. Your kids, your grandkids, your friends, they might start visiting less. Not out of disrespect, but because they're trying to protect their own peace. They want to be there for you. But it's hard when every phone call becomes a reminder of how broken the world is or how disappointed you are in what life has become. Now, I'm not saying you should pretend everything's fine. That wouldn't be honest, and I'm not asking you to fake a smile. But what I am saying is balance it out. If something's bothering you, sure, say it. But then maybe add a little light too. Mention something you're grateful for. Share a funny memory. Ask how the other person is doing. These small changes open doors instead of closing them. People want to feel good after talking to you. They want to laugh with you, learn from you, feel lifted by your presence. And you absolutely have the power to make that happen. You've got wisdom, humor, warmth. Don't let all that get buried under frustration. So next time you pick up the phone or sit down for a chat, take a second. Ask yourself, is what I'm about to say going to make this person feel closer to me or further away? That one question alone can change everything. 2. Giving advice when no one asked for it. This one's tricky because I know it usually comes from a good place. You've lived a full life. You've seen mistakes, learned lessons, and figured out things the hard way. Of course you want to help the people you love avoid the same pain. But here's the thing, advice, even good advice, can feel like judgment if it's not invited. Think about your kids or grandkids. You might notice them doing something you know isn't smart, spending money the wrong way, raising their kids differently than you did, maybe even choosing a lifestyle you don't understand. And it's so tempting to step in and say, "You shouldn't do that," or "You're making a mistake." But to them, even if you mean well, it can feel like you're criticizing who they are, not just what they're doing. And that feeling, it builds up. Slowly, they start calling less. They don't share as much. They keep their distance. Not because they don't love you, but because they don't want to feel small around you. Friends can feel this too. Maybe you tell someone to eat healthier, spend less, or get out more. But unless they ask for your opinion, it might come across like you're lecturing them instead of supporting them. So what can you do? Start with permission. Just ask. Instead of saying, "You really should do this," try, "Would you like to hear something that helped me?" Or, "I've been through something similar. Do you want to hear what I learned?" If they say yes, share. If they say no, respect that. You don't have to hold your wisdom back. Just offer it in a way that feels gentle, not forceful. Because when people feel respected, they listen. When they feel judged, they shut down. And I'll tell you something important. When you wait for the right moment, your words have way more impact. People remember advice they asked for. The rest usually goes in one ear and out the other. You've got so much to give. Just give it with love, not pressure. 3. Refusing to adapt to change. Now I want you to hear this with an open heart. The world has changed, and yes, a lot of it probably doesn't make sense to you. Maybe the way people talk, dress, parent, or even how they work just seems different. Maybe even wrong. And you have every right to your opinions. But here's the truth. If you're constantly resisting change, people around you, especially younger ones, start feeling like they can't relate to you at all. Think about how often you might say things like, "That's not how we used to do it," or "Kids today have no idea." Every time you do, you might be building a wall between you and the people trying to connect with you. And let's not even start with technology. I know it's frustrating. Phones that talk back, everything done on a screen, it's a lot. But when you say things like, "I don't need that nonsense," or refuse to even try texting or using FaceTime, you're not just avoiding technology. You're unintentionally making it harder for others to include you. Your grandkids? They might be organizing their lives on social media or messaging apps. Your kids might send a quick text because they're busy. If you're not open to learning, they start feeling like they have to leave you behind. Not because they want to, but because you won't come along. But here's the good news. You don't have to become a tech genius or love every new trend. You just have to show curiosity. Instead of saying, "I don't get it," try saying, "That's interesting. Show me how it works." That small shift changes the whole tone of the conversation. People love spending time with those who stay curious, who listen, who learn, who grow with the times, not against them. You've adapted to so much in your life already. This is just one more step, and it keeps your relationships alive. So the next time someone brings up something new, don't shut it down. Lean in, because staying open to change, that's what keeps you connected. 4. Expecting too much from others without giving back. As we get older, it's natural to rely more on the people around us, for help, for company, for support. But here's something that's easy to miss. If you're always the one receiving and rarely the one giving, people can start to feel drained. And when that happens, they slowly start to back away. Maybe you expect your kids to call first, to visit often, to run errands or fix things around the house. Maybe there's a friend you lean on when you're feeling low, but you don't often check in on them. You might think, "Well, I've done my part. Now it's their turn." And yes, you've likely given a lot in your lifetime. But relationships aren't a bank account. They don't work on old deposits. They need fresh care. Even now, people, no matter their age, want to feel appreciated. They want to feel like you see them, not just what they do for you. And when they start feeling like they're only being contacted out of need, they feel less loved and more used. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't ask for help. Of course you should. You deserve support. But it's also important to give back. And it doesn't have to be big. A warm thank you, remembering a birthday, asking someone how they are. These small things show you care. Even a short message like, "Just thinking of you today. Hope you're doing okay," can go a long way. Think about your day-to-day interactions. Are you making space for other people's lives too? Or have the conversations started to revolve only around your needs? Being thoughtful, even in small, quiet ways, keeps your relationship strong. People are much more willing to show up for you when they feel seen, appreciated, and loved in return. So take a moment today to give something back, even if it's just a kind word. 5. Living in the past too much. There's nothing wrong with sharing memories. In fact, your stories are part of what makes you you. They carry history, wisdom, even comfort. But here's where things can quietly go off track. When you spend so much time in the past, people start feeling like you're no longer with them in the present. You might not even notice it. Maybe you bring up the good old days in every conversation. Maybe you tell the same story more than once, because to you it still feels fresh, even if the people around you have already heard it 3 or 4 times. Or maybe, when younger people talk about their lives, you respond with, "Well, back in my day." But what they hear is, "Your life doesn't matter as much as mine did." That's not what you're trying to say, of course. But it's how it feels to them. And over time, it starts to build distance, not because people don't care about your past, but because they're trying to share their present with you, and it feels like you're not there. Friends your age might feel this too. If every coffee or phone call turns into a loop of old stories, it can become predictable, repetitive, even tiring. People want to feel like they're creating new memories with you, not just reliving old ones. So what can you do? Balance. That's it. Share a memory, yes, but also ask about their life now. Instead of just telling a story, try listening to one. And if you catch yourself repeating something, pause and think, is this the right time for this story? You don't need to stop reminiscing. You just need to make space for the present too. Because here's what people really want, to feel like you're with them. Not just a window into the past, but someone they can still laugh with, talk to, and grow beside today. 6. Ignoring boundaries. Now, let's talk about something that's often tricky but really important, respecting personal boundaries. I know you love your family and friends dearly. You want to see them, catch up, maybe spend some quality time together. But sometimes, showing up without a call or dropping in unannounced can catch people off guard. It might feel like you just want to be close, but for others, it can come across as overwhelming or even intrusive. You see, everyone needs a bit of personal space, no matter their age. When you don't respect that, it can cause tension without you even realizing it. You might feel hurt if someone asks you to give them a little time alone or says, "Not now." It's natural to want to be close, but try to remember, their need for space isn't about pushing you away. It's about taking care of themselves too. When we ignore boundaries, it can lead to frustration on both sides. Maybe you feel unappreciated or like you're being shut out, while your loved ones might feel pressured or stressed. The best way forward is to respect those moments when they say no or need time for themselves. It's not personal, it's healthy. By honoring boundaries, you show respect, patience, and love. You're telling them you care enough to listen and understand their needs. That simple respect can deepen your connection over time because it's built on trust and kindness. And don't forget, everyone, including you, needs a little breathing room now and then. So, giving and getting that space keeps relationships strong, joyful, and lasting. Aging doesn't mean losing love or becoming less important. It means learning to grow with the people around you and finding new ways to keep those bonds strong. Life changes, and so do relationships, but that doesn't mean they have to weaken. In fact, by making small changes in how you communicate, listen, and respect others, you'll start to notice a big difference in how people treat you and how connected you feel. You still matter deeply. Your experiences, your stories, your presence mean the world. Sometimes all it takes is a little patience and understanding from both sides to keep love alive and thriving. Now, I'm curious, which of the 6 things we talked about today feels most familiar to you? Is there one you've noticed in your own life? Feel free to share in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if this helped, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're building a positive, caring community for people just like you, where kindness, respect, and understanding are at the heart of everything we do. You're never alone on this journey.